I've been watching some of your episodes recently, and some of your viewers have advised me to call in. I am a men's rights activist.
You're a men's rights
activist? I'm
activist?
Of several men's rights groups.
Okay.
And I feel like the men's rights movement is very much misunderstood.
Misunderstood.
I've called in C-SPAN before. I've written articles before.
Okay.
And it's a fun hour, so let's just talk.
Okay.
So what would your perception, if someone told you they were a men's rights activist, what would your perception be? Like, how would you see that first gut reaction?
My first gut reaction? Do you want me to be totally honest?
Of course.
I think you're a lunatic.
Okay. You say lunatic.
Yeah, you asked me to be honest, and I wasn't going to disrespect you by not being honest. So that was my first thought, was like...
I would ask for nothing less than the truth, and that's absolutely fine. I get that reaction all the time, and I understand why that's your reaction. Right. I see all these articles that are equating the men's rights movement to like the alt-right, to like incels, to misogynists. And what I'm trying to get across is that that is not what the men's rights movement is actually about. And
well, why don't you tell us what the men's rights movement is actually about?
Okay. I would say there are both legal and social disparities that affect men and boys around the world. So both instances of legal discrimination that hurt men and boys, and different social standards and double standards that affect men and boys. And we would like to bring attention to these disparities and discriminations, both legislatively to fix the laws and make them equal, and socially to get people kind of talking about it. Hey, you know what? I've noticed this is true. This is a double standard that affects men. Right. How come when a guy gets a girlfriend, people think it's funny, etc.?
Okay. Now, let me ask you this, because I'm sure you have a long litany of legal disparities that you're aware of, and of social slights, like how come people think it's funny when a guy gets dumped by his girlfriend, but not when a girlfriend gets dumped by his guy? I mean, like I don't know how to measure that.
I think he means hit.
Oh, no.
Hit.
Yeah.
Hit. Okay. Oh, hit. Okay.
I will say for the record, I do not think either is funny.
Okay, but fair enough. Let me just stipulate some of those things without even hearing them. What, at the end of the day, is the net implications of this?
I think, and this has been backed by studies of human psychology, there is a tendency, a subconscious tendency, to show less empathy towards a male than a female. And they demonstrated this with a study where they offered participants money to give electric shocks to a random stranger. And the shocks would increase in pain with each time. Now, of course, they weren't real shocks, and they were just told that. But people were more willing to hurt a man than a woman. Both men and women were both more willing to hurt a man than a woman. And I think people have a blind spot when it comes to male issues, because the narrative is that men are privileged.
But this is not now when you talk about the psychology of people having less empathy for men, and I can that doesn't, I mean, I haven't seen those studies, but that doesn't seem completely, it's not hard for me to imagine. What does that have to do with rights?
Well, for example, in a lot of countries, the state pension age is higher for men than for women.
Is that in this? It's not in this country.
No, in this country we have.
Well, let's just keep it. Let's just keep it within the United States, because I don't know. I also know. I mean, can we agree that there's also probably more countries around the world that are not the United States where women have far less rights than men, that even if you can find countries where the pension age...
I would absolutely agree.
Okay, so let's just keep... Hold on, can you let me finish? Excuse me. You got your own YouTube show, right?
I do.
Okay, so if you want to throw out random stuff like this, you can do that on your show. But I just want to ask, I want to try and just, sort of like, because I am quite sure, although I cannot list it, and I want to be clear on that if we were to survey the laws around the world, that women have far less rights around the world as a net than men. And if you have to go to the pension age for men as like if that's your top line, I feel very confident in saying that
no, first of all,
because we have a lot of countries where women can't even drive.
It's because women live longer. That's why the pension age, right?
But put that aside for a moment. Put that aside for a moment.
Hang on.
Can we just stay in the United States so that we can have this conversation?
I want to ask what Emma just said. Emma just said it's because women live longer. Now, I don't think that pension ages should be different based on gender. But if anything, if one was to make a logical argument based on how
correct. The pension age would be shorter. Okay, lower. Now listen to me. Listen, dude. No, you hang on. I don't want to talk about the pension age in some random country somewhere else. I want you to explain to me how. Listen, stop talking for a second and let me finish. I want to talk about what rights have to do with the fact that there's a psychological study that show that people are less empathetic to men. What rights do you think that men are denied, and what material difference do you think that that lack of empathy provides in the United States that allows me to believe that my energy should go into making sure that men have equal rights as opposed to the people who have only recently had the right to have a credit card in their name, or only recently had the right to vote, et cetera, et cetera?
In the United States, exclusively.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's stay with the U.S. And first of all, I know what you're saying about women not having a credit card until 1973, but at the same time, 18, 19, 20-year-old boys in 1973 and before were being drafted to die in Vietnam.
Right, and I think you'll find that people advocated for...
Let's say to today. In the U.S. today, for example, Obamacare allows for an annual women's wellness visit, which is an annual physical for general health. Men do
oh my God, thank God.
Men pay for insurance for Obamacare. They do not get the same health care under Obamacare that women will get. Prostate cancer screening is also not covered under Obamacare. Prostate cancer is the cancer a non-smoking man is most likely to die from. The only cancer that kills more men than prostate cancer.
Dude, when do you get prostate cancer?
I'm sorry?
When do you get prostate cancer? What is the age in which you need to worry about prostate cancer?
More men die of prostate cancer.
I understand. What is the age? What is the age?
What is the age I will get prostate cancer?
What is the age when men contract prostate cancer?
It is the cancer that...
No, I didn't ask you what the age is. I didn't ask you what the cancer is. I know what prostate cancer is. I'm asking you, at what age do you think you're most vulnerable that you really need the screening?
60 and above.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Medicare?
Yes.
Okay. Obamacare, the ACA, deals with people who get up to the age of Medicare.
But not everybody is over the age of 60 when they get prostate cancer.
No, I understand that, but you also don't. You're not getting mammograms if you're a 25-year-old woman on Obamacare.
But a 25 woman can get breast cancer and die.
It's not about breast cancer. Women are going to the OBGYN for the birth of children and for reproductive health. Men cannot carry babies.
The point is the health needs. The point is the health needs.
But a 55-year-old man can still develop advanced stage prostate cancer, but he would not have screening available.
I understand. But, dude, you understand that the way that they determine these things is not a function of the possibility. It is the function of the likelihood. What you're complaining about is public health policy.
What's the difference between the possibility and the likelihood?
No, I'm sorry. Women spend, on average, from ages 19 to 35, $3,400 a year on health care. How much do you think men spend?
What's the relevance in how the law's written?
$1,900, because Obamacare is meant to lower the cost of health care.
It's the basis for how the law is written.
It's the complete basis. What's the difference between possibility and likelihood? Likelihood measures the percentage of chance of you getting it. Possibility simply says any chance above zero.
Right, but if you have a law written based on the likelihood and the possibility, if you have two genders that have an equal...
No, not likelihood and possibility, dude. It is written on the basis of likelihood.
Okay.
Are you advocating for Medicare for all?
The well
solves your problem.
What I would like to know is, where is this coming from? Why are you like on this crusade? What is it in your heart that makes it that, like, out of all the crises that we're facing in this country, you really think that there's some men that just are not getting the fair shake? Like, where is this coming from, dude?
First of all, it's not some men, it's virtually all men and boys. And where it comes from is we get...
I would agree with that. Yeah, virtually all men and boys have issues with women. Yes, I would agree with you on that.
You want me to talk or not talk?
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on a second. Would you like the floor again? Please take the floor. I've said 4 words.
We get messages from 13, 14, 15-year-old boys who are scared. Things they hear in school, things they hear from their parents.
I'll be back, guys. I'm going to go throw up.
You're going to throw up?
No, go ahead. You get messages from 13, 14, 15-year-old boys who are scared. Yes.
And they hear the rhetoric that is being taught in school. They're being taught men are bad, boys are bad, toxic masculinity, and they're being lectured.
Wait. You telling me that there are schools that say men are bad and boys are bad?
Why toxic masculinity is bad.
Well, toxic masculinity is toxic.
But instead of lecturing them, why not listening to where they're coming from? Instead of lecturing, this is why your masculinity is toxic, why not ask them instead,
hey, dude, you're playing games here because nobody's saying masculinity is toxic. There is are you denying the existence of a masculinity that is problematic?
I'm saying that it's not up for feminists to just define.
I'm not talking about feminists anything. Who said feminists? I'm asking you a question. Do you think there's any aspects of masculinity that are toxic?
No, I think there are aspects of the social expectations on men that are toxic and
just the expectations. Nothing that men do, nothing that men have been socialized to do over the years in creating what we know as masculinity is in any way toxic.
Of course, look at the draft. Look at conscription.
Oh my God, dude.
Dude, you're not listening to what I'm saying. What is explain to me.
The draft doesn't exist.
What is masculinity
anymore?
One at a time, please.
What is masculinity?
Emma, shut up. In other words, Emma, please stop talking. Please, we need to give the floor back to the man who thinks that masculinity is under attack. One at a time.
What is masculinity?
I would say that masculinity is defined as the social conventions that someone would expect of someone who appears to be man.
Expect?
But I don't
Wait. So you don't have masculinity. I impose it on you. Is that what you're saying?
I did not say that, no.
Well, if you're telling me that the definition of masculinity is what other people expect, you're saying it has nothing to do with you, that you don't have masculinity. I impose it on you. That's my expectations.
Sounds like you're gender fluid.
I didn't say.
No, not me personally, society. You're saying expectations. Does masculinity exist except for in the expectations of other people?
Society as a whole, yes. I didn't say from you.
No, I understand society as a whole. Can masculinity exist without the expectations of others?
Yes.
Okay, what is it?
I think that if you took 1 million men and 1 million women under the same circumstances and you followed them over 10 years, you would see there are certain trends and certain hobbies and certain interests that men would be more likely to be interested in.
What is it? What?
It doesn't mean that you're defined and it doesn't mean that you're locked into these roles. It doesn't mean that a woman can't play football and a man can't wear makeup. Those things are totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. What it means is that there are some innate differences.
Dude, are you telling me you're a men's rights activist and you can't even define for me what the word masculinity means?
Masculinity is not a scientifically defined term. So no.
A social construct is what you're saying?
It's a social construct, and there's nothing about that social construct that is in any way toxic.
Ask 10 different people, you get 10 different answers. So
yeah, but that's not how this works. If you're going to use this as your basis and your argument, you have to actually provide some sort of evidence. Now, like, you know, I'm really curious because on one hand, you're talking about the economy and how it affects men. But if you're going to go on that, let's talk about how it affects women. Let's just talk about that. Or are you talking about the social construct, which is based on the 10 people that you have in a room who have an opinion?
Nothing on the pay gap, by the way, dude. You're talking about pension funds. Interested what you think about the pay gap for men and women.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to go back to what Sam was saying, how as a man's rights activist,
That doesn't shock me.
masculinity. As a man's rights activist, I wouldn't want to define masculinity. Secondly, as for the pay gap, men under 40 now earn less than women in the United States. Men are
Fundamentally false, dude. Fundamentally false. You know, do you know who the majority of frontline workers were this last year that we all praised frontline workers? They were women of color, mainly women of color. And I don't see you going to bat for the $15 minimum wage. You want to talk about gender equity? You want to talk about men's rights? Then fine, go make sure that women make more money so that you don't have to feel insecure about taking care of the family and the home. If you're so burdened by this, then why don't you advocate for pay equity, a higher minimum wage? Let's talk about all the institutional issues that will make you feel more empowered as a man, so you have a little extra money to go out there and spend on whatever you do in your men's rights movement. You want equity? Fine, let's do it. Sounds great.
who says I don't?
All right. So wait a second. So okay. So let's just be clear. Let me just catch up where we are here. There's no way to define masculinity. So any talk of toxic masculinity, of course, is absurd because we don't even know what masculinity is. But toxic, and so there can't be toxic masculinity because we don't even know what masculinity is, and that's impossible to define.
But that's not what I said. I said there is a general sense of masculinity based on the...
Tell me what it is. You keep talking around it. Don't tell me there's a general sense. I'm asking you what it is, and you can't articulate it. So how is there a general sense?
Because there's no specific definition. As you said, there is no specific...
Well, here, let me tell you what toxic masculinity involves. It involves things that end up leading to domestic abuse. Yes, it's not funny when men get hit, but the fact of the matter is the overwhelming amount of domestic abuse in this country is men on women, right?
That is very much debatable.
Well, okay, debate it.
Oh, boy.
There are statistics that show very, very, very wildly different rates of domestic violence where some studies...
So are you telling me, sir, who is calling in, that the domestic violence rates, don't tell me there's a debate to be had. Answer it. I don't want... Answer it. Answer the question. Do men beat women more than women beat men? You tell me, men's right advocate.
I would say that, first of all, the studies are inconclusive, and secondly,
we don't know
because
we can't know. We don't know.
We don't know.
Okay, so we don't.
I've one addendum.
We don't know what the rates of domestic abuse are
because they're a minority.
Hang on a second, though. What I would like to know.
That doesn't mean...
Based on your presumption that men and women, we don't know what the actual numbers are. One thing we do have really good sense of the numbers are is how many women end up unhoused because or stuck in domestic abuse situations because of the pay equity issue, in which they cannot leave their home with their partner in a domestic abuse situation because their partner is part of they have to take care of their children, their home, and if you separate from a domestic abuse situation, you're put in an unhoused, possibly even more vulnerable situation. We do know the numbers on that, and they're majority women.
But first of all, do you think it's possible that because male victims are taken less seriously and they don't get as much help and they don't have a shelter to go to, that the number of unhoused men is lower?
No, I don't actually, because there's a pay equity issue in which men make more money than women.
That's not true.
Okay, so let's just be here. I just want to sum it up because obviously there's nothing seems to be knowable here. We don't know what domestic rates of violence are. We don't know what the word masculinity means. We also we don't know what the pay disparities are. All we know is that 13, 14, 15-year-old boys are writing into you saying that people are telling them men are bad and boys are bad.
That's not what I said, Sam. That is not being honest at all, and you know it. And we do know, by the way, we do know the pay gap statistics. When you control for all factors such as working overtime, men and women earn almost identical salaries in the United States. Now, if you take the median male salary...
But why would you control for working overtime?
Why wouldn't you?
Because you're talking about the opportunity to make money.
But women have the same opportunity to work overtime.
No, they don't, because they have kids.
Men have kids too.
Are you telling me that we can't know who has primary responsibility in our society as it exists now for taking care of the kids?
Well, of course, it's true that women are given custody more than men, but if you have a couple, they can absolutely decide, hey, listen, I'm going to work more tonight. You work more tomorrow night. That's a choice they can make.
Now, do you think it's a rational decision do you think it's possible that society rewards men more than women so that if you're economically strapped, there might be more opportunity for men to make money than women?
No.
You don't think that exists?
Oh, interesting.
No, I don't.
I mean, look, listen, you're living in a different universe. You're honestly living in a different universe. Then let me tell you why. Let me tell you why so many people respond to you. Listen to me. Listen to me for a second. Let me suggest something to you. Let me suggest something to you because we're going to have to end this at the moment. But I would love you to call back in. Has it occurred to you that the reason why when you portray yourself and when you go out and you go on CNN or whatever it is that you had mentioned in your preface, that people respond to you like I do, like you're a lunatic, that the reason why they're doing that is because everything you're saying, not everything, but the vast majority of what you're saying completely does not comport with their sense of reality. So we've got that type of situation where like you have one sense of reality and everybody else around you, not everybody, but the vast majority of people around you have another sense of reality. And
a lot of people like you have a misunderstanding
of things like the dynamic that exists in the workforce, or the dynamic that exists with domestic abuse, or just the concept of like, hey, people didn't have the right to vote, up until fairly recently in our society, or didn't have the right to have their own credit card, or couldn't even have the right to have their own name. I lived in a city when I was 21. In my city, in the second biggest city in New England, women were not allowed to register to vote under their maiden name.
But that doesn't invalidate the men's rights issues.
No, what it suggests to me is, listen, you can find subsets of all sorts of people who don't have, in certain specific areas, the same. I mean, I'm not quite convinced that men don't have the same rights, but the don't have equity. But I can tell you that across society, when you look at, I'm not interrupting you because I haven't stopped talking. When you look across society, the net relationship in terms of rights in society and be able to move to society with some form of equity, I'm sure if you try, you can find some narrow instances. And I have no doubt that we have not done a good job of trying to change the expectations of what we expect out of men. That has to happen. There's no...
Yeah, work harder, be smarter, because guess what? We're not handing it to you on a platter anymore. If you're the...
Of rights.
It's not what I said.
It's not a question of rights.
It's not about being handed on a platter.
It's not a question of rights.
Grades for the same work at every age and every subject. Just so you know.
Could it possibly be? I have a theory about people like you, and I don't worry about offending you because you just spent the last 20 minutes basically offending everything that both Em and I have been talking about for the last, I don't know. Hang on a second. I know. I have a theory about you.
You're not the kind of person that would offend me because your opinion of me is not a reflection of myself.
And that is, I'm so happy you have that self-confidence. I'm so happy that you just walk through the world thinking that your opinion matters more than everybody else's. But guess what? It seems like you're a little insecure about, I don't know, maybe you have to put in a few more hours and do a little extra work because now immigrants and people of color and women are suddenly outpacing you. There's 10 seats at the table, and I'm sorry, you were the 10th, and now you feel insecure because you don't just get that spot.
I never said that.
No, I know you didn't say that. That's my theory on you. This reminds me of this one time, and just to give you a little story, I remember, and Sam, you'll appreciate this, I was sitting in a conference room with Ron Hartenbaum and his partner talking about a Sirius XM show, and out of their mouths, these 60-year-olds said to me, in their 60s, said, Nomi, we really wanted a woman, and we're really happy that we chose you because you don't have kids, and we knew that you would be able to do this job 3 hours a day and put in the extra work needed because you're still young enough that you don't have kids. But we needed a woman to host the show. Out of their mouths, that is what they said. Do you see what's wrong with that statement? Do you have a sense of that?
Nakomi, is that what I said?
No, that's not my name. I'm sorry. Can you try that again?
Well, wait, that's,
Your name is what? I'm
that's
looking at
fair.
your. I'm looking at your right now. What is your name? Is this?
Okay.
He can't see. He can't see.
No, it's not.
It's okay. It's okay. He's calling into the show because he's a regular viewer. So I'm curious if he was going to do the extra work that people do when they call into shows when they want to debate somebody. Did you do the work, or you just want it handed to you?
Conversation.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Men, teenage boys and men.
Listen, I'm gonna, as a professional feminist, I'm gonna give you a little advice now. If you're gonna call into a show and debate men's rights, maybe come a little bit prepared. Maybe the issue is that you've just been able to skirt through life just saying like, some people say, and this is my theory. Come in with the facts next time. We'll be ready for you. But in the meantime, I know you're insecure about not being able to just walk into life and get what you want and actually have to do the work now.
And you wouldn't listen.
All right. So Thomas, listen.
And deflect and finish the point. Sam, can I talk to you one-on-one?
Yes, at another time.
Okay. I would like to arrange.
Not now.
I would like to arrange.
Can I have a one-on-one men's rights conversation with you, Sam? Man.
Hash this out. Mano y mano.
Mano y
I would
mano.
like to have, or you know, it's fine. Emma can come too.
Oh, thank you.
Emma, as long as you're quiet, you can come.
Conversations.
It's
Let's
because
have
I'm
a
cool and I
conversation
drink beer.
with timed responses.
With time responses.
You have 90 seconds, and I had 90.
Well, I'll tell you what, Thomas. Why don't you have me on your show?
You want to come on my channel?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
But
Send me an
under the
email,
stipulation-
majorityreporters
under the-
at
under the-
gmail.com.
under the-
Why doesn't he want to debate a woman? I'm really curious. I'm just really curious about this whole scenario here. Why don't you want to debate a woman one-on-one?
We gotta let him go.
Yeah, I got to let you go.
He-
I
Tom.
would be absolutely.
He's dead already.
Oh, he'll do it.
I did say Emma can come, but correct me if I'm wrong. Sam is the name of the channel. It's called The Majority Report with Sam Seder. Is that true or false?
Sam Seder, yes.
Right.
He did his research.
We need to make
Thomas,
it-
send me an email at majorityreporters at gmail.com. We're going to have some fun, buddy.
I already have.
Oh, well, very
Last
good.
week.
Very good. Very good.
Goodbye.
I'll give you the special men's rate too when I come on. We'll talk to you later.
But Sam,
Yeah.
God.
It was good. Sorry, folks. I want to issue an apology.
Emma, the 30-minute conversation with a fedora.
Yep. I want to issue an apology to Emma and to Nomi and to our entire audience.
No, don't you mean no?
Kimi.
I'm the last person who's going to be able to sort of judge somebody for being able to pronounce.
It's okay. It's our thing, Sam. It's not like.
All right. Should we move on?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Let's keep talking about this. I'd love to.
Wow, I mean, that was like a whole hour the front half on Jimmy Dore and then men's rights.
I know. I apologize, folks. I'm so sorry.
Man.
What a day.
I am so sorry.